So the first step to take, once you've thought, I want to do some work on my relationship with alcohol, is to see it as that. It's your relationship with alcohol. And the first advice or recommendations I always give to people is start to read. There's some great books around sort of alcohol and its impact on the brain and body. It's one called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, and another one called Alcohol Explained by William Porter. An Australian woman, Sarah Rushbatch, has just written a great book called Beyond Booze. She's based in Perth, actually.
Oh, cool.
So educate yourself, get some knowledge around alcohol and how it could be impacting you. There are some great podcasts around as well that can really, help give you some insights that you may not have had. But in terms of tools and strategies that you can bring into your everyday life, some of them is just about challenging, our behavioral patterns, looking at your drinking, getting an idea about, well, when am I drinking? When am I thinking about drinking? How much am I drinking? Getting some more mindfulness around those patterns and thinking, well, is there a way that I can change this up? Maybe I can build some alcohol-free days into my working week that may have an impact on how I show up at work, whether I attend my exercise classes in the morning. I always find that clients find that really powerful. They go, okay, I'm going to build in an alcohol-free day and see what that feels like, rather than going, right, I've got to quit drinking altogether, which again is never the KPI for the programs and the work that I do with clients, because everyone has a different idea of what success is. Sometimes people will come into working with me and they just want to feel better about their drinking. They don't know what that looks like or feels like, but they want to feel better in themselves and they don't know what the behavior will look like. And I'm like, that's perfect, because it changes along the way. And I think the most important thing is to be honest with yourself and to take responsibility for your own situation and not compare yourself to your friends. Because I've got plenty of friends who were drinking in the same way I was, or drinking more than I was. Now, they're still drinking and they don't have a problem with their drinking, or maybe they do, but they don't want to do anything about it. That doesn't enable me to keep drinking. I need to say, Kath, you're not happy. It's time to do something about it. And there are lots of courses, books, coaches. Hello Sunday Mornings, a fabulous organisation in Australia that has some great, support through their app and lots of blog posts. There's there's many ways that you can get engaged. There's a great Australian podcast called Sober Awkward, which is hosted by a wonderful friend of mine, Vic Vanstone. So immerse yourself, start asking questions, start listening. That is a great place to start. And then start to maybe bring in some new, as I said, some new changes into your week, and see how you feel when you're not drinking compared with when you are drinking as well.
I love it. It's just such a beautiful way to make a change. And I really love as well your acknowledgement that you don't have to change all of your friends, and you don't have to stop being friends with people. It's not actually about that. It is, this is me and this is how I'm showing up and this is how I want to improve my life. And, and also I love the idea that you don't have to do things for other people. So just because you are going to that social event and they will be drinking, that's fine. You don't have to go and change anyone, but you don't have to go and change yourself. When you show up at that event, you can still go and connect with your friends and be there and be present for any milestone. But acknowledge what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and actually, do things that are going to, build your health and well-being, whether that be mentally, physically, from here on in.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the interesting conversations I had with a friend of mine the other day was, she was saying, no, I definitely don't have an issue with alcohol and I feel really good about it, my relationship with alcohol. And I just said to her, can I pose a question to you? And she said, yeah, of course. And I said, well, how would you feel about taking, 30 days away from drinking, and how would it feel to go to, the social events that you've got coming up over the next couple of weekends and choosing not to drink? And she sort of looked at me and she went, that feels uncomfortable.
Mm.
And then she said to me, well, then I probably got more of a passion and a dependency than I think I do.
Mm.
And I said to her, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to go to some parties or go to some social events, and freely choose not to drink, and do it with a mentality of, what am I going to gain from this?
Yeah.
What am I going to gain from this situation, and trying this out, and just as an experiment. And a couple of my friends have done that, and they're like, you know what? It was uncomfortable going into a big party when everyone else is drinking. Really
Mm.
uncomfortable, and I'm not. But then, you get into it and it all changes. For me now, yes, it's initially a bit uncomfortable. And not even now for me, it's not, because 5 years down the track, everyone knows that I don't drink.
Mm.
People are more worried about what's going on for them than they are for you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's such an interesting point. Is it? I told someone this yesterday. I'm like, people are far more in their own heads, worrying about their own stuff than thinking about whatever's going on with you.
Totally. So a lot of what is, and that's the thing, a lot of what is going on in your own head, as we know, most of our thoughts are not true. They're based on assumptions from the past, or just, yeah. So again, those thoughts are often stories.